this unit, we have studied the different styles and the common characteristics of Chinese architecture. Speaking of the most typical traditional Chinese architecture in the East Yangtze Delta region, the classical gardens of southern China would cross your mind immediately. Through a meticulous design and refined layout, they are brimming with profound metaphysical implications, deeply rooted in the natural beauty admired by Chinese culture. Today, we are going to visit Zhanyuan Garden, the only well-preserved Ming-style architectural complex in the city of Nanjing, and learn to appreciate the classical gardens in China. Every year, it receives a steady stream of visitors from across the country and the world. Let's go and find out about its appeal. We are now at the south entrance gate of Zhanyuan Garden. Please look up here. Two Chinese characters are written on the horizontal inscribed board, Zhanyuan. The name of this garden was given by Emperor Qianlong of Qing Dynasty as he came to Nanjing and visited the garden. Zhanyuan Garden has a history over 600 years. It is the oldest among all the others in Nanjing City, known as the #1 garden in Jingling. Inscribed boards, couplets, and tablets are seen everywhere in gardens. The inscriptions left by men of letters in old days always fit perfectly into the scenery, while conveying the feelings and thoughts of the owners. The garden is installed this way to preserve the spiritual core of the art of traditional Chinese architecture, the unity of man and nature. The golden dragon screen at the entrance is one of the two treasures in Zhanyuan Garden. This screen is depicted in a costly gold mine. Although the dragon on the screen has gone through hundreds of years, it is still fresh in color with dazzling luster. Chinese screen or screen wall, either in wood or stone, is a unique and indispensable part of traditional Chinese architecture. It is usually put at the entrance of a house or room with delicate paintings, carvings, or embroideries to protect privacy, divide space, and decorate the place. Behind the screen, there is a palace building in the woods. That is the museum where the cultural relics of Taiping Heavenly Kingdom are displayed. After the establishment of Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, one of the Taiping rebellion leaders, Yang Xiuqing, started to reside here. The garden is therefore composed of two parts, the east part of the museum and the west part of the typical residential garden. This is also the main purpose of today's tour. Here we are at Jingmiao Hall, the central construction of the garden. Encircled by water and rockeries, the hall divides waters into the South Pole and North Pole, thus enjoys a panoramic view. In the distance, we can see four main pavilions, namely Fan Pavilion, Suihan Pavilion, Guanyu Pavilion, and Yilan Pavilion. Fan Pavilion is named so for its shape of a fan. As a great miracle of the garden, it was made of copper and became the world's first air-conditioned building. It is said that you wouldn't feel cold while enjoying the snow view here in winter. Between the two rockeries is Suihan Pavilion, the largest and most exquisite pavilion in Zhanyuan Garden. Around the pavilion densely grow bamboos, pines, and plum trees, a perfect foil for the poetically charming pavilion. The name of Suihan Pavilion in Chinese suggests the coldest period in a year. Yet, pine, bamboo, and plum trees are the three durable plants that still thrive in cold winter. Therefore, In Chinese culture, pine often stands for longevity, persistence, and dignity. Bamboo symbolizes a strong but resilient character, while plum blossom represents rebirth and renewal. As the three friends of winter, they are traditionally admired by Chinese literati. The pavilion is thus named to echo the surroundings while delivering a strong willpower.
In traditional garden design, well-spaced trees are arranged carefully according to different shapes and heights, and the different flowers are supposed to blossom in different seasons, ensuring the garden could remain green and vigorous throughout the whole year.
Here in Zhanyuan Garden, we can't miss an old Chinese wisteria planted over 300 years ago. It lies quietly in a small courtyard. Look at these old dried branches, plain and strong, intertwined like a dragon. Every spring and summer, the pergola would be covered all over with purple blossoms, lush, fragrant, and refreshing.
Walking along the veranda, we come to Guanyu Pavilion. As its name indicates, this is a place where people come to watch the fish in the pond. Like this fish viewing pavilion in Zhanyuan Garden, almost every garden in China has a waterside place to watch fish.
Chinese classical gardens not only stress the integration of man and nature, but also the integration of other elements, like plants, what we have seen in Suihan Pavilion, and animals. Birds and waterfowl, such as orioles, mandarin ducks, and swans, as well as fish and turtles, are the most popular natural embellishments of garden landscapes. They blend naturally into the surrounding environment, creating a vibrant, dynamic picture that adds to the fun of the garden. Meanwhile, people like to engrave dragons, phoenixes, tigers, bats, white cranes, and other patterns on windows, doors, screens, eaves, or elsewhere for their auspicious implications. In this regard, we find a good example in Zhanyuan Garden.
On the right side of the entrance of Guanyu Pavilion, there is a giant cursive character tiger tablet, the other treasure of Zhanyuan Garden. It boasts over 100 years and is known as the best tablet of the world.
Legend has it that this was a gift by the first emperor of Ming Dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhang, to his intrepid tiger-like general Xu Da. The tablet is almost a man's height. The character tiger on the tablet is written in one stroke, and the shape is also like a roaring tiger. In Chinese culture, tiger symbolizes a courageous spirit. But there is more about this tiger. If you read very closely, you will find there are 4 Chinese characters hidden in it. Fu, Jia, Tian, Xia, bearing the best wishes to be the richest in the world. Folklore says this tiger in Zhanyuan Garden has magic. Its head brings you plenty of food. Its mouth keeps evil spirits away. Its body guarantees a promotion. Its back shows you glory and wealth. Its tail enables you to have whatever you want. What is presented now is Yilan Pavilion. It is a 2-story building, also the tallest in the garden. Standing upstairs, you can overlook the whole garden at a glance. I guess this is why this pavilion is called Yilan, literally An overview at one glance. Jingmiao Hall, Fan Pavilion, Suihan Pavilion, Guanyu Pavilion, and Yilan Pavilion are all classic constructions in traditional gardens. They are indispensable in terms of their ornamental rather than practical value. Every pavilion, terrace, storied building, tower or pagoda, windowed or waterside pavilion, veranda, and pleasure boat. These are often integrated into a garden to match each other for landscaping purposes. A reasonable layout of these buildings, adorned with proper inscriptions, together with the elaborately selected and arranged plants and animals, contributes to a classical Chinese garden in a highly unified style. Jingmiao Hall divides the whole garden into two major spaces in the north and south, each with a large pool, North Pool and South Pool. They are connected by a clear stream on the west side of Jingmiao Hall, so that the two distinct spaces come into contact. North Pool is relatively open and wide, with Suihan and the Guanyu Pavilion facing each other on both east and west side. It borders on the rockeries on the north and the lawn on the south. There is a floating stone bridge in the north on water that connects the east and west touring lines. On the other side, South Pool extends from the southern edge of Jingmiao Hall in a shape of a gourd. It is broader near the side of the building and gradually closes up towards the south end. It is not a classical south garden without water. Therefore, waterscape design must be taken into account when building a garden. Chinese garden usually features a central pond or lake with winding streams and waterfalls to give a full play of the beauty of either static or flowing water. As seen here in Zhanyuan Garden, the pavilions and rockeries surround the two pools so that people can enjoy the view of the water from different perspectives. And the buildings themselves comprise the waterscape, together with their reflections in the water.
Standing on the south side of Jingmiao Hall, come into view the graceful South Rockery covered by flowers in full bloom and flourishing green plants.
Although the rockery is less than 10 meters high, the skillfully designed cracks, waterfalls, valleys, and stone caves render it a natural hill. Getting closer, it projects a more imposing image. The rockery stretches down in the shape of the crab claw, clamping right on the water. Stepping out of Jingmiao Hall and walking along the veranda, we could see the North Rockery from a distance. Facing the crystal clear North Pool, they consist of wrinkled Taihu stones piled up in various poses, among which outstand three famous stone caves: Twisted Dragon, Lion Tiger, and three apes. The rockery stretches out with green plants, dotted here and there to liven it up. In the north and east of the pool stand a couple of trees planted in Ming Dynasty. They have weathered through over 600 years, and the peonies, cherry blossoms, and red maples here further enrich the color of South Rockery.
Rockery represents the art of classical Chinese garden landscaping. Rocks are thought highly of as the backbone of a garden. Chinese people exhaust the uses of rocks and are really good at presenting their inherent beauty in various shapes.
Zhanyuan Garden is well known for its talented application of rocks. Specially arranged rocks serve as the main body of the landscapes in the garden. Meanwhile, they also function as scenery transformations and barriers. No wonder Zhanyuan Garden is also regarded as a rockery garden. The two rockery sets projecting over the water make it a first-class Southern China garden.
A single rock in nature is not noticeable, while a single rock showcased in a garden will be particularly conspicuous.
According to Mi Fu, the best Chinese painter ever in history, beautiful rocks are those thin, wrinkled, light-licking, and multiporous. They can be located in an open yard independently or scattered around the corner to make unique scenery, just like the Xianrenfeng and Yiyunfeng in this garden. Xianrenfeng, also known as Peak of Immortals, is in the Crabapple Garden, one of the small gardens named after the flowers there to the east of the South Rockery. It's a single large Taihu stone, a type of limestone found in the mountains around Taihu Lake. This one is said to be the stone relic of Northern Song dynasty. After all these years, it still looks tall and straight, with smooth and clean skin, as well as well-spaced natural stripes and holes, just like an elegant immortal. Another rival Taihu stone in Zhanyuan Garden, Yiyunfeng, also known as Peak of Clouds, stands in the southeast corner of the Osmanthus Garden. Its name is pretty straightforward. The multiple stone layers stack up in the shape of thick clouds. Both of these two stones are named after their distinctive appearances.
Alright, fellows. In previous sections, we've learned some general components of traditional Chinese architecture. Today's cultural tour takes us on site to see with our own eyes. Hope it helps imprint the beauty of Chinese buildings in your mind. Well, time is limited, but we still have a lot to see. The Brazen Hall, Chunbo Pavilion, Yanhui Pavilion, and so forth. Not only in Zhanyuan Garden, but many of other architectural masterpieces in China. Time to rock. Remember, only in doing we learn well.